South Africa stands at a crossroads, a country with immense potential, yet grappling with corruption, institutional capture, and the erosion of public trust. Today, we examine one case that brings these issues into sharp focus. The story of businessman turned accused Vusimuzi cat Matlala. In the next 10 minutes, we'll unpack not just the criminal charges, but how his business dealings, alleged political links, and the fuller context matter for the country's justice system. Who is Cat Matlala? The business and political backdrop. Matlala began his rise in the private security and services sector. Over time, he secured large government contracts, particularly in healthcare services for the South African Police Service, SAPS. Media reporting shows his firm, Medicare 24 Tshwane District, was awarded a $360 million contract to provide health services to police members. But questions followed. The tender was later canceled amid allegations of irregularities. Matlala's business operations intersected with politics and law enforcement. He is alleged to have connections with senior police figures, politicians, and purported organized crime syndicates. In short, his trajectory spans business, politics, and alleged influence, and that makes his case significant beyond the courtroom. The criminal charges and bail drama. On the criminal front, Matlala is facing very serious charges: attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and money laundering among them. The core incident pertains to a shooting in 2023. His former partner, actress and socialite Tebogo Thabanje, was wounded after a vehicle on the N1 highway near Sandton was shot at. Matlala is alleged to have orchestrated the hit. His bail application was opposed robustly by the state. Reasons include undisclosed offshore assets, a private jet, luxury boat in Mauritius, the possession of a fraudulent Eswatini identity document, and evidence he may have slipped into South Africa illegally from Eswatini/Swaziland. On 17 September 2025, the Alexandra Magistrates Court denied his bail, finding that he posed a flight risk, could interfere with witnesses, and that his release would not serve the interests of justice. Institutional and corruption-related context. This case is not just about one entrepreneur accused of a violent crime. It touches the structures of state power. For example, senior police officials and politicians have been drawn into the orbit. In July 2025, the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner publicly alleged that Matlala had infiltrated the police top brass and contracted his influence to disband the Political Killings Task Team. In response, the government established the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system, which has heard testimony implicating Matlala. One of the most recent revelations, at the commission, a witness, Witness C, testified that Matlala claimed he had funded the campaign of former police minister Senzo Muchunu and paid millions to senior police officials, Shadrach Sibiya, Richard Shabiri, via his companies. These links suggest that the Matlala case is a window into how procurement, business, crime, and politics may overlap in South Africa. Let's zoom in on the tender side. Matlala's companies benefited from large government contracts. The earlier $360 million health services deal with SAPS is one strong example. The fact it was canceled amid fraud allegations hints at irregularities. Further, investigators say Matlala was linked to firms whose only registered directors were placeholders, a known fronting tactic used in public procurement. Added to this, the alleged syndicate known as the Big Five Cartel, based in Gauteng, is said to have orchestrated tender fraud, contract killings, hijackings, and infiltration of the justice system. Matlala is named as one of its alleged members. In short, the Matlala saga highlights the risks when state funds, private business, and alleged criminal networks coexist without strong oversight.
Recent court and bail-related developments. Since the bail denial in September, Matlala remains in custody. The court noted he had failed to show he wasn't a flight risk or that he wouldn't interfere with witnesses. Additional points: he is alleged to have slipped back into South Africa from Eswatini illegally, according to movement control records, further supporting the state's contention of flight risk. Also, while in remand, a cell phone was found in his cell in prison, raising fears he still had external communication. These factors reinforce the severity of his bail denial. The next major procedural steps will determine how far this case will go, whether in the magistrate's court or transferred to the High Court, how the dossiers are consolidated, and how the political, institutional pieces are unfolded.
What's next and key things for viewers to monitor. Going forward, viewers should keep an eye on how the state consolidates multiple dockets against Matlala. For example, separate charges of attempted murder, money laundering, corruption. The further hearings of the Madlanga Commission. Will additional documents, WhatsApp chats, bank records show direct links between Matlala and senior officials? Whether Matlala's political funding claims for Machuno, for ANC events, lead to further investigations or prosecutions of senior figures. If and when the trial starts, which court will oversee it? What charges will be consolidated? How will the defense respond? Any change in his custody status, new bail applications, or asset disclosures. These developments are important not just for Matlala, but because they may signal how South Africa handles business, politics, crime overlaps.
The human impact and broader implications. Don't forget the human side. The attempted murder charge centers on the 2023 shooting of Tebogo Thobejane, who remains a victim of violence and alleged abuse of power. The case underscores how high-stakes business and corruption can escalate into real danger for people. On a system level, this saga raises major questions. When a businessman can allegedly influence senior police and win large contracts, when he's named in both violent crime and state procurement scandals, what does it say about governance, accountability, and rule of law? For civil society, media, and the justice system, Matlala's case may serve as a benchmark. Will powerful individuals get brought to book? Will the institutions protect themselves? Will there be reform? These are the stakes. In conclusion and call to attention, in sum, Vusimuzi, Kat Matlala's story is still unfolding, but already it represents a convergence of tender business, alleged organized crime, and state capture. What happens now matters, because it will show whether the South African justice system can hold individuals linked to power accountable, or whether influence, wealth, and connections prevail. For you watching, stand formed, follow the court and commission hearings, ask questions about transparency and oversight, because cases like this don't just belong to the courtroom, they belong to society. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.